to draw isometric projections. My basic tools for this particular drawing is my set square, that's my 30-60 set square, and my ruler, of course, with my T-square. Now the isometric plane is a line of 30 degrees, okay, two lines of 30 degrees we draw from a point on the horizontal line. So we draw first 30 degrees with the horizontal to the right, and then we draw another 30 degrees from that same point on the horizontal line to the left side of the plane. Then from that point on the horizontal line, we draw a vertical line. So this is what we call our isometric plane. This isometric plane forms the base of whatever shape we want to draw in isometric. You can see I'm drawing it from the same point on the horizontal line. So that point on the horizontal line where these two 30 degrees meet would be my base point for this particular drawing. And the 90 degrees line that I draw from this point would divide this object into two parts. So I'm always going to be referring to the right part as the right side of the plane, and then this other side I'm going to the left part. I'm going to always refer it to the left part of the plane. So whenever I talk about right and the left part of the plane, I'm talking about right side from this particular vertical line. So I'm going to mark out 40 mm at the bottom left. You're going to see the dimension 40 mm. So I mark out 40 mm from the base of this plane. I'm going to mark 40 mm on this my left baseline, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for the right side. I'm going to mark out 74 mm. So again, I'll mark out 74 mm with my compass. I'll put it at the base of the plane, and then I will use it to draw an arc to cut the right baseline. Now I'm using 74 mm. If you look at this drawing closely, 74 mm is 12 plus 50 plus 12. So look at if you look at the top side, you're going to see how I got this dimension 74 mm. So it's that length 12 plus 50 plus another 12, making it a total of 74. Okay, so that's my 74 mm for the right side of the plane. Okay, so now from that 40 mm mark on the left baseline, I'm going to project the vertical line. Okay, so that's my vertical line from that point 40. And I'll repeat the same thing from that point 74. So from that length, from that point where the 74 mm length got the right baseline, I'm going to project another vertical line. So always remember to keep your lines faint or thin at this stage. Ensure you keep your lines thin at this stage, because we are still projecting, we have not started outlining. Okay, so now if you pay close attention, look at the right side of this drawing, you're going to see the height of this particular object. Now the height of this object has a total height of 53 mm. Now that 53 is, if we add up the height, we are giving 16 plus 25 plus 12, gives us a total of 53. So we're going to take our compass, mark out 53 mm, and then put it at that point, at that 74 mm point, and then use 53 mm to cut the vertical line we drew from that point. Now we'll do the same thing for the left side of the plane. From that 40 mm mark, we are using the same 53 mm, which is the height of this object. So we are using the same 53 mm, and that vertical line we projected from that point, we are going to use 53 mm to cut it. Now we are going to use the 30-degree side of our set square to project lines from these 2 points we just got now. that's the 53 height from the two base points, that's from the 74 point and the 40 point. Now we're going to use our 30-degree side of set square to project lines from these 2 points to touch. Now these lines are going to intersect. They're going to intersect somewhere on our vertical line, the one that we have at the center of our plane. So these two lines we want to project now will intersect on the center, on the midpoint of this isometric plane. Okay, now from our left baseline, the end of that line, 40 we are going to mark out, there's a length there. We are going to mark out 6 with our compass and then put it at the end of that our left baseline to cut the base, that line. So we are going to use 6 length to cut the baseline. That's the left one. And then that point of intersection, we are going to draw a vertical line upwards. So we are going to draw a vertical line from that 6 mark. Okay, so I don't think this is 6 I'm going to redraw that. I think my compass shifted while I took that length. So I'm going to redraw it. I'm going to mark out 6 and from that 40 on the left baseline, I'm going to put my compass there and then I'll cut 6 So I have my vertical line from the 6 point. Okay, now we have the first height we have is 16 from that base. We look at the height, the first height is 16 So with my compass, I mark out 16 and put it at the base of this plane and cut the vertical line using 16 Now from the 16 mark, you can see I have the 30-degree side of my set square. So I'm going to use it to project lines to the right and to the left of this plane. So I've drawn the right. I've projected to the right, that's 30 degrees from this 16 mark, and then now I also project to the left using the same 30 degrees set square. Okay, you try it. I don't think you try casting and phone in your head. You decide the cat a washing machine. So we will send
Say the make I look at see say what you dey so New Year once we enter New Year why I do this one.
Okay, so now from the top of this object, of that my center line, I'm going to mark out 12 mm. You can see that the height from the top is 12 mm. So from the top on this center line, I'm going to mark out 12 mm and cut the vertical line. So I've done that. That's with 12 mm. And again from this my 12 mm mark, I'm going to use my 30-degree side of the set square, and then I'm going to project into the right side of the plane, and then use the same 30 degrees again and project to the left. So I draw a line from that 12 mm mark. I project to my right, and again repeat the same line this time around towards my left, into my left plane. Okay, again, the top of this particular object. So I'm going to use my 30 degrees set square again, and then from that end, from that point, that's from that 53 height on this my vertical line, I'm also going to project a line. This from one side of the top of this object. Okay, now I have so many lines. Then my lines are beginning to increase in number. So I'll start outlining my shape. So I'm going to start with the parts that are obvious now. So I want to start thickening them so that I can easily know the difference between my outline and the parts that are supposed to be thin. So I'm trying to outline some of the drawing, some parts that are obvious now. So it's also advisable as you're drawing, you're outlining, so you don't get confused when you have so many lines. Probably you want to outline one line, and maybe because of how crowded that place is, you may go and outline a wrong line. So that's why as I'm drawing, if I get to certain points where I think I've had clear understanding of what I'm doing, then I will try to outline them. So I'm trying to thicken on the left plane, I'm trying to thicken the outline of that left plane. Okay, so from the base of this object, I'm going to mark out 12 mm. I'm going to mark out 12 mm on the right baseline, which is what I've done. So I've marked out 12 mm, and then I have I've used the 12 mm to draw an arc on the right baseline. So again,
What is it if
from the 12 mm, I mark out another 5 mm and cut the same baseline. So I could do this 5 mm from the initial 12 mm mark, or I could just do 17 mm from the base point. So that's it, 17 mm from the base point. Then the next point is 50 mm from that, okay, rather 40 mm from that 5 mm point. So I think the next point should be 57 mm from the base of the plane. So the 57 mm is, we add 12 plus 5 plus 40. So with the next point we are going to mark out will be 57 mm from the base. So I'm going to use my compass, mark out 57 mm, put it at the base of the plane and cut the right baseline. And then lastly, the last point we are going to mark out is 62 mm from the base point. So that's 57. The last point we marked, 57 plus 5. So if you look at this drawing carefully, you are going to understand how we arrived at all these dimensions. Okay, so that's my 62 mm line from the base point.
But it just, you know, like just shit.
Now we're going to project vertical lines from these 4 points we just obtained, the 12 mm, 17 mm, 57 and 62. So we're going to put our set square at these respective points and project vertical lines. So this is the first vertical line from the 12 mm mark. The second vertical line I'm drawing from the 17 mm mark. The third line from the 57 mm mark, and the fourth line from the 62 mm mark. Now I'm going to mark out length of 6 mm. You can see that I have a height of 6 mm in this right plane. So I'm going to mark out 6 mm and use it to cut the center line, and I will draw a 30 degrees line in the right plane. So the 6 mm height is for the opening at the bottom right side of the object. Okay, so I haven't done this. I'm going to try and outline more parts of this object. You can see I'm beginning to have plenty lines. So to avoid conflicts, I want to start outlining the ones that I'm done with. Okay, so I'm going to outline them, and while I do that gradually, the shape of this object gradually comes out.
The song. Okay. Yo, but if I want to take off from this, I'm not going to see this side. That's just like this. I want to check wow.
I haven't drawn any new line yet. I'm just picking the ones I have already. So I'm looking at the shape I want to draw, and then it's serving as a guide. I'm using it as a guide to outline the points I have completed.
This one better pass.
Okay, so you can see now I want to finish up the shape, the top. I want to close up the top of this object, so I'm going to use my 30-degree set square again and draw lines from this 53 mm height. So this completes, it closes the top. Okay.
I would like to only review from this side. I can't stop from this side.
Why?
The light, I'm not going to do the lights.
Okay, so I want to continue with my outlining, my thickening. So I want to thicken more of this drawing, because the more I thicken, the closer I come to the final shape required. Okay, so for the top part of this object, you can see that I have two faces of 40 mm length and 12 mm. Already have the 40 mm. Now we are going to mark out 12 mm so we can be able to draw these two top faces. So we are going to mark out 40 mm, and from the ends from the top vertices, we are going to, yes, mark out 12 length.
What's the calculation distance
I really wish it was this place I used the other time. I want this guy that cut out more stress. I like it.
Okay, so for the inclined face, I'm going to use 60 degrees instead of our regular 30 degrees. So I'm going to use 60 degrees to draw that inclined face. Okay, so we are almost done with this drawing. As you can see, the shape of the object is becoming more and more obvious. So we just want to add this hole, the hole in the left plane. So there is a hole in the left plane, in the left side of this object. So we just want to draw that. Of course, we continue the same projection we've been doing with our 30-degree set square and vertical lines with our 90 degrees. Okay, so as you can see, my drawing is complete. So I think I'm just going to dimension. I'm going to complete the dimensioning so that you see all the dimensions I used in case you want to practice yours. So don't forget, if you have any question, if you have any comment, you can drop that in the comment section. If you have any question, how I got any part, or there is any drawing, any isometric you will want me to show you how to draw, don't forget to drop that in the comment section. Okay, so as you can see, I am done with the dimensioning, so I've put all the dimensions I use. So I think this is pretty much clear now. Okay, and I have a 90 degrees there. So this should be very clear now. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video.